Absent. Trustee Harper?
Here.
Trustee Petrucci?
Here.
Thank you. Trustee Jermaine did text me and said he's on his way, might be a few minutes late. Item number 4 is approval of our meeting agenda.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Treasurer Horning, second by Trustee Kalani. Is there any discussion? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Call to the public. Anybody at call to the public this evening? Being none, we'll go to item number 6, which is approval of our consent agenda.
Move. Support.
Motion by Trustee Petrucci, second by Trustee Harper. Is there any discussion? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item number 7 is our applicant. Good evening. If you guys want to come up real quick, we have Ed Eichhoff here this evening for Ramco Gershenson. And welcome.
Thank you.
If you would like to
Sure.
explain to everybody while we're here this evening, and we can go from there.
All right. Thank you. Again, my name is Ed Eichhoff. I'm the Senior Vice President of Development for Ramco Gershenson Properties Trust, the owners of the Hartland Town Square. And as you know, we have a planned development agreement in place since 2006, and it is a commercial retail development. We have the opportunity at the moment to potentially bring some residential into the property. And so I approached the Planning Commission originally to ask the question if Hartland Township would be open to the conversation of us taking a piece of the planned development agreement and modifying the allowable use for that portion to be residential. That piece is approximately a 20-acre piece to the west of the Meyer store and on the north side of Hartland Road, and having Hartland Road, you know, the US 23 is the other boundary and the condos to the north. So at this juncture, there is not a plan to review. There is not a, signed purchase agreement that, to represent that we're, committed to doing this. We are desirous of doing this. We believe that in the current economy, post Great Recession, that the world has changed a little bit, and that it will be a substantial amount of time before Ramco is able to bring all commercial to that property. And so we're, again, simply asking for the consideration to start the dialogue and the process of rezoning a portion of the property to multifamily or residential. Based on previous conversations, I believe the way that we would accomplish that is by doing an amendment to the existing planned development agreement, and that one piece of that would be relatively easy. We had the word residential as an allowable use for a portion of the development. And then the second part would be a negotiation with the township in terms of the design standards for the residential portion. And at that point, since I would be selling the property, Richard would take over the conversation at that point, starting to interact with Troy Langer, and then go through the normal process with the township to do the rezoning and to reach agreement on the design standards. So Richard Badd is with me this evening from Redwood, who is the firm that we are currently negotiating with. If you have any questions, he's certainly more than willing to answer them. But again, the main purpose of this residential portion.
Okay. So I think this evening is relatively simple. What the discussion would be is, would we consider having homes of some fashion on that site, on that 20-acre site? Mm-hmm. So I will open it up to any questions that you may have for this evening. And again, we're not really acting on anything. We're giving a consideration.
Correct.
Is this the same plan you brought to the Planning Commission before, or is it anything new? I don't recall. It looks like it's basically the same. Correct?
It is the same company. There was a brochure from Redwood that was presented to the Planning Commission. There were several questions raised at the Planning Commission. That's why Richard is here tonight, because I don't want to speak for him, because again, I'm selling the property. I think that he's prepared to answer whatever questions you may want to ask. But it's the same company, but there really was, I did not take a plan to the Planning Commission.
Right. You're from Redwood?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I sit also on the Planning Commission as the board's liaison, so I kind of have a little more advantage because I kind of remember. I don't think there was any objection from the Planning Commission when we first saw this of looking at this as a potential modification of the plan unit development, having some residential elements to it. And I believe this would be near some of the adjacent residential.
Correct.
Over on the north side, closer to Hartland Road. That's kind of where the location's at. So I just, from the Planning Commission's perspective, at least, there was a lot of good feedback that went back and forth. Some concerns, though, with the product. And I think that the concern is that was kind of addressed at the, I'd like to hear what other folks have. I know that Redwood built some over in Latson Road, and I don't know if anyone on the board is familiar with the product over there, but it would, I think that we'd have to take a look at that product a little closer. So,
And that'd be part of the amendment of the PD through the Planning Commission and Troy and that whole element.
Yes, and again, I don't want to speak for Richard, but that is not a premier property that, it's a property they're proud of, but some of the design features in that property were not necessarily directed by his company as much as by the municipality.
oh, over in Howell there? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That's Howell Township, though, right?
No, that's Osceola.
Oh, it's Osceola Township.
Yes.
Okay, you're right. That's right.
Well, with the way retail's going right now, I think it's great to add the residential in, and I'm anxious to see it, and I know it's going to be a different product than Latson Road, and I think it's a great idea, Ed.
Thank you.
Okay.
The type of units that are going in here, are they unique to what we've got planned for other areas?
They haven't really presented what
It's
their plan.
concept.
It's just I think the general, it's really looking at changing from a commercial parcel to residential. So I think that I would assume you're going to come back with some ideas of what that product will look like for that site.
Yes, and we took very seriously the input we got from the Planning Commission.
And just to reinforce, again, as far as process, very similar to a PD, this is an amendment to the PD. So you're at the conceptual review. There will be a preliminary review that comes back to the Planning Commission and you, where most of the details worked out, and then another final review of that PD before it's amended. So the conceptual is that initial question of sometimes the plans are presented, sometimes not. It's just a question for you to give feedback, or is this a step in the right direction? If so, are there certain conditions or feedback you want them to have as they go to put pen to paper on a potential design for the preliminary phase? But they want to know whether they're heading in the right direction first. So you can give them that feedback and then give any feedback on what type of plan you would want to see or not see.
Joe?
Yeah.
Well, I don't have a problem with it at all, for a couple of reasons. First, I think we need to see more of that. But the main reason that I don't have a problem with it is because, as you know, just north of that, we have some condominium residential area already. And no matter what goes into that parcel that you're talking about, no matter what it is, we're going to get complaints. Because they are there already. And they don't, a lot of people, they buy and they don't sometimes do their homework on what could end up behind them. So consequently, the township is at fault for that. And the reason why I'm not opposed to it is because the residential project will come in after what is being developed over there is already being seen. So people that are buying their homes and they're renting their apartments or whatever they're doing, they're already going to know what's there before they get into it. So that's why I don't have a problem with it. I do, and I will take exception of what goes in there. And the reason for that is it's a very visible piece of property off of the freeway. In fact, when you're going by that intersection and staying on the freeway, it's extremely visible. So I'm going to be very particular on what type of product goes in there. If it's the Latson Road product, I will not be in favor of that. If it's a product that's similar to brownstone, maybe something like, you have in Royal Oak off of 96 and across from the zoo there, I would be much in favor of that. So it depends on what the design looks like and what the product is that you want to build in there. And I know that that's not part of the discussion today, but I just wanted you to know that I would be in favor of that move, but I would be particular on what would be approved for that.
I hear you.
The Redwood product is single-family ranch-style homes clustered together, correct?
Yes.
And we have had, a couple conversations regarding making sure that the design standard, of the residential is complementary to the design standards that we agreed to in the plan development agreement. And so I think that those comments from the Planning Commission, and again reinforced this evening, we're well aware of and very comfortable with.
Thank you. Glenn, do you have any comments?
No, well, I just support what Joel just said.
Okay. Glenn? I'm sorry.
Glenn.
Matt?
I think I share the sentiments that have already been expressed. In my mind, it doesn't do the township any good for that property to remain vacant for the foreseeable future. And we know that the developer has been working his butt off for 10 years, seems like almost, to get businesses in there. And so if businesses are unable to come and we can provide a high-scale residential area that people are going to want to own or rent, whatever the case may be, then I see that as a positive thing for the township.
Go ahead.
The location on the site plan also in that general vicinity talks about a potential hotel that was going to be located on site as a concept. Is that still in the realm of possibility?
What Ramco has done is in the area where the main sign is at 23 and 59, kind of that front corner.
Yeah.
What we've done is that, a long time ago, actually in our mind, not necessarily on the plan, was changed to the hotel location. The purple area in the bottom left, exactly, those two, that general area there, outlet 6 and 7, that is the area that the infrastructure and, in our minds, the eventual location for the hotel, much in terms of whatever else we do. And again, the detention pond, the fountain, is a little bit of a feature for it. So yes, there's still intent for hotel on this property. I can't promise you, right? I've been looking for that for 10 years as well. But we do have plenty of room there, and we could combine other out parcels as well.
So the area where you're planning the residential, there was that corner,
right,
far left corner, upper part right there. That was supposed to be the hotel. That's going to be where.
That entire quadrant that's shown on the screen right now is what's for sale, the approximately 20 acres.
Okay, so that's the area that you're thinking of when you're doing, okay.
Yeah, all of it between Hartland Road and Meyer, and then again Hartland Road and the condos on the north.
Including that little, was it 1.9 acres?
Yep, the pink and purple. The whole thing is what makes up the 20 acres. Thank you.
So I don't think I hear any objections to the consideration at this point.
I do have a concern with again, going back to having the commercial properties where they're at. I mean, we looked at another property in a different corner and kind of didn't care for it because there was too much residential. I'm trying to not limit our commercial. We still have the same concerns with spots for commercial. I mean, we have the US 23 M59 corridor, and those 4 corners are basically your resident or your commercial area. And I think you're taking a fairly large chunk of that commercial area and converting into residential, and it concerns me in the long run. If some of the residential plans that we have do come to fruition, is this a spot that we really want to designate for residential?
Ed, how big was the original Ramco project? I can't remember.
Acreage-wise?
Yeah.
50 acres. And
Total? Is that all?
little bit over, yeah, not much. Well, this piece, and then we bought the Meyer piece in addition later.
Yeah.
But the 50 acres was supposed to support approximately 600,000 square feet of retail. You have the Meyer, 200,000 square feet. We've just closed on April 2nd and broke ground April 6th on the Imagine Theater. But in that area, the green is the Imagine Theater. There'll be approximately 49,000 square feet. That area was originally supposed to be approximately another 85,000 square feet. But the unfortunate reality at the moment is that the retail world is going through an evolution, and the movement at this point is to go back to regionally dominant, heavily populated areas. And so where the retailers are expanding, it's not in more greenfield sites, which this is still considered. And at this intersection, the Akins property still has land available to develop. Even after this, we still have approximately 15 acres to deal with. There's vacancy in the former Walmart center. They have land and the vacant box. I just can't. I don't have the crystal ball, I don't think anybody does, to tell you how many years or decades it would take to have all 4 of these corners be commercial. So I'm requesting, because I don't think it's in the short term. It's already been 10 years to get the little bit accomplished that I have, and not without trying. And again, at considerable expense to Ramco Gershenson, because a residential development does not warrant the same amount of money as a commercial development does. So, we're choosing to do this for the benefit of the site, and we do believe it helps the township, but it's at a loss to our company.
Okay. The one thing that I thought of that I will share is that, and I know you haven't come to us with a plan, so I'm not saying, I like what you're going to bring or not bring, but I think we have an opportunity here with this property to build something that is not just a traditional subdivision, something that's going to be able to allow, we're planning on putting a sidewalk down Hartland Road, so we've got pedestrian traffic to the village and to the other shopping areas. I think you have an opportunity to do something unique that will set you apart from some of the other just traditional subdivisions that have been built in the area because of the close proximity to these other amenities that are already there. So I'm just throwing that out as food for thought. I'm not sure if I'm expressing myself clearly, but after I see what you bring, maybe I'll come up with a better choice of words.
No, Richard probably understands. I certainly understand as well. I mean, we've had several preliminary conversations, and I think it's your intent to do things to tie into the park behind us.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, from our, we are a prominently empty nester product. And empty nesters, their major means of exercise is walking. Tie in our community with the park and walking trails. That is a major positive attribute to the site.
Okay, great.
Can I ask you, can you give us any kind of a range on how many units you're talking about and what the price range would be? Can you give us any kind of an idea of what you're thinking about?
So, I have we have drawn a very preliminary plan. It hasn't gone through the review process. It hasn't gone through commentary. It really hasn't gone through all of our internal commentary yet. I think that plan was 140 units. Rental price range are going to go from in the 1,500s a month to probably 2,100 a month. That range.
This is the higher end? Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how familiar you are with this, but our product is all single-story ranch attached in either 4 or 6 plexes. Everyone has a full 2-car garage, attached garage, everybody has a full driveway, everybody has a patio. All the units are 2-bedroom, 2-bath, some have an additional sunroom, but it's
Will they have character, or are they going to look like cookie cutter?
well, there's actually, the Planning Commission made that commentary, and we have kind of drawn in some product from some other communities we have to try and give this character.
Are they all rentals, or will there be?
They're all rentals.
They're all rentals.
Any other comments tonight? I think you heard that there's no, didn't hear anybody say no, and are looking forward to products that you said you had some other ones that you have, and I actually drove around and looked at some of those, and I agree that you have some other products that would be a lot different than what we see down on Latson Road.
Right. I mean, I think I directed you to Wolverine Lake.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
Yeah, there was specific concern about the appearance from US 23. I mean, plan is that product to be facing
Yep.
US 23.
Yep.
So I think that's.
Well, very good, thank you. Unless there's anything else, thank you for your time, and
Thank
we look
you.
forward to seeing you the next around the corner.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you, have a great evening. Okay, item number 8 is sampling monitoring plan renewal. Mr. West, good evening.
Good evening, thank you. What is presented to you this evening is a proposed extension of the existing contract with the company formerly known as AMAC, who has handled our groundwater monitoring program since essentially I've come on board. They have recently changed their company name to Wood Environmental. However, the contract language is still written up as AMAC. At any rate, what you have here is the 2017 sampling results for what we see out in the monitoring wells within the park. The good news is there's been substantial improvement. The bad news is that it's still in exceedance of the maximum contaminant level of 250 parts per million. If you look up in the north end up there, you can kind of see in 2016 we were at 420, and that is what the amount of chloride which triggered the residential monitoring plan. And over the past year, it has been reduced down to 340. Now that does seasonally change. There is a range on it. However, we do believe that trend to be going down. And this doesn't relinquish us from any further samples. We still have to continue. This is essentially a status quo plan to continue on with what's already been approved by DEQ. We are not proposing any changes at the risk of trying to open the door for DEQ to respond with increased monitoring. So as it stands right now, what you have before you is a 3-year contract. Each year will come back before you for renewal, but the price is fixed for 3 years. This I'm asking for this evening is just basically to award that contract and continue on with AMAC. You will see on the proposal is broken down into basically 2 prices. One of them is for the standard groundwater monitoring, and that's the plan and reporting. The second subset of that is for the residential monitoring plan constraints. Now, we're not 100% sure what DEQ will require until we get the more results in from the residential monitoring plan. This year already to date, we have been more successful in obtaining some additional samples. We have found one additional property. This is from last year's, what's up here right now. We have an additional property that's labeled number 8, has shown an exceedance, and we did test another one right here, and this one is within compliance. I will say that the exceedances that were discovered this year again, are only rating between 260 and 270. Again, the maximum level that's permittable is 250. Last year we had 600 down here for chloride, which was the parcel number 9. So we have yet to obtain another sample, a repeat sample for 2018 for that address, but we are working towards that to see if that's gone down. I think the picture will be painted shortly here within the next 2 to 3 months with regards to where this plume is actually shifting. That information will be submitted in a results plan to DEQ, complete with analysis by Wood Company, and we will wait and hear what DEQ says the next course of action is. I apologize for being somewhat long-winded. There's a lot of information there to cover, but I'm more than happy to answer any questions.
Matt, were you part of this years ago?
Yes, sir.
You were? Are you comfortable with the proposal? Okay. Are they using those same wells heads or the sites that they did? Didn't they have some spots out there that they put pipe in the ground and
yes,
use the
and you can kind of see they're at all different level. There's basically 3 tiers. There's the surface water, the intermediate aquifer, and then the deep aquifer. These are basically strategically placed around the park. This is a reduction. When this plan was originally initiated, there were 29 total wells. So we've come a long way. There's still a lot of work to do, but I'm definitely happy to report that we have been able to reduce through this plan and through our monitoring. We've been able to reduce the number of monitoring wells. We're just not proposing any changes for this year.
But the units shown on this figure are different than what's shown on the one for the private residences.
Yes, you're absolutely correct. Essentially, the units that are shown on this particular graph are, for equivalency purposes, you would drop the last 3 digits on the residential monitoring plan, if that makes sense.
These are in parts per million, the others are in parts per...
Yes, essentially.
And I'll make a prediction that we'll be monitoring this plume for decades. And the next place it's going is underneath the school property as it migrates toward Valley Creek.
Any other questions or comments from the board for Mr. West? So you just need approval for this action item tonight?
Just for the contract extension.
If there's no other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the sampling monitoring plan contract renewal.
Support.
Motion by Trustee Kalani, second by Trustee Harper. Is there any discussion? Being none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank
Mr.
you very
West.
much.
Board reports for our second meeting in April starts with Treasurer Horning.
I have nothing.
Trustee Kalani.
I have nothing.
Trustee Germain.
No report.
Trustee Harper.
No report.
Trustee Petrucci.
No report.
You were thinking about it.
Well, I was going to mention that the teen center, I thought you were going to mention it, but the teen center is going to have a summer program this year.
I was going to say something.
Were you going to say that?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, but...
And it's going to be on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6 in the morning till 6 at night. So it's going to be open throughout the summer on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
And just so everyone understands, the Teen Center received an anonymous gift to fund that program. It's not being funded by, tax dollars, or it's being funded 100% from a anonymous donor who chose not to.
Right.
So the other thing about that, the summer program will also involve a number of opportunities where we're going to, I think they're going to have different things like a golf training day. There's going to be some career type of presentations where we have different people come in and talk about their careers, and it's going to be a good program this summer. So I do have one thing, and I meant to say this.
Too late.
No, Teen Center's annual golf outing is June 24th on a Sunday. So if you're interested in being a part of a foursome, or just come on your own too. You don't have to be part of a foursome, but we are golfing. It's 9 holes, and it's this year $50 a golfer. So.
Thank you. Anything else?
I don't have anything else in my report.
Clerk Shofu?
We are getting ready for the May 8th election. We are processing absentee ballot applications and getting absentee ballots in. You can still get a absentee voter application either by going online, stopping at the clerk's office, or just emailing the clerk and we will send you an application. You can get AV ballots sent to you by mail up to, according to the rules, Saturday before the election. It's recommended that you kind of get your application in by Wednesday of that week to allow for sufficient time for mail. We will have office hours on Friday, May 4th and 4th? No, Friday, May 5th and Saturday, May 6th from 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m.
Thank you. And right around the corner on Saturday, May 19th is our Township Cleanup Day. And it is free to all Hartland residents. If you want more information on what you can bring, go right to our website, heartlandtwp.com, and you can see what you can bring. You can bring large appliances. There is a small fee if it doesn't have a sticker on that says free on. Free on free?
Free on free.
Free on removed. Got it. So that's I can't remember, how many years have we been doing this now? 6, maybe?
No, my first year, 11th, so this will be 12th year.
12th year already. So, and that is at the old high school on Dunham Road. If there's nothing else this evening, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Are you adjourning?
We're not doing the.
Oh, I'm sorry, we're going to
All we have
your
is the
report.
strategic plan report.
And my report.
We'll take a brief recess and then we'll go to your report.
No, he's got a brief report. We'll just do it now.
Yes,
No,
just do
we're
it.
going to stay up here.
All right.